Welcome back and Happy New Year, everyone. I want to give you guys an update regarding home prices, housing inventory, price reductions, and much, much more based on this new report from Redfin just posted last week. I have a lot to share in today's video. Let's begin. It says active listings are rising in part because many houses are lingering on the market. In other words, they're sitting in the market, they're not selling, causing supply to pile up. So please leave a comment below if you guys are seeing that in your neck of the woods. In Sacramento, where I'm an agent, of course, I'm also seeing this as well. We're seeing houses that are sitting in the market longer are houses that are outdated and overpriced, causing inventory to rise further as more new listings hit the market. So it's not due to a giant surplus or giant increase of new supply in the market, a huge increase of people listing their house for sale. It's really due to the fact that houses are taking longer to sell. And speaking of that, here's another article from Redfin posted on December 30th. It says over half of homes listings, or over half of home listings, in other words, half of the houses for sale, last month sat on the market for 60 days or longer. In other words, they were on the market or listed for sale for about 60 days plus. The highest November share since 2019. That's a major reason housing supply jumped by 12%. It goes on to say the following: a major reason for the jump in supply or housing inventory is a pileup of unsold houses, many of which buyers have deemed undesirable because they seem overpriced. For the country as a whole, Texas and Florida had the highest share of stale inventory. In other words, houses sitting on the market at least 60 days on average. So for example, in Miami, 63.8% of listings, houses for sale, in November were on the market for 60 days or longer without going under contract with a home buyer, the highest share amongst the top 50 metros. So Florida and Texas have been building more houses than anywhere else across the country, which is one reason inventory and thus stale listings are on the rise. So I made a comment on my video I posted today, which is on January 1st, Happy New Year, everyone, that the resale market and brand new home construction market are kind of different animals. And the reason why I say that is because the number of houses that get sold for brand new home construction, in other words, you go to the builder, you either pick a lot or you buy a brand new house, versus the resale market in which a homeowner previously has bought the house new and therefore they're reselling it. Now looking at the stats, around 85% of all home sales so far this year, January through November, come from the resale market of existing houses. Only 15% come from brand new home construction. So sales in the resale market far outpaces brand new houses. So in any case, as a nation as a whole, the new home construction industry, supply of houses for sale, for example, really doesn't impact overall the resale market, but it does in particular markets such as Texas and Florida, for example, where they have a lot of existing houses for sale, but also a lot of home building as well. And of course, because of that, that's causing houses to sit longer in the market. Also, surging HOA fees, high insurance costs, and destructive natural disasters are also making Florida house hunters hesitant to pull the trigger. In contrast, Providence, Rhode Island, and Milwaukee, Wisconsin have the lowest share of stale listings. And they have a really good table here below showing the 50 most populous metros. And Miami, again, had the highest share, around 64%. They have an increase of inventory up by about 25%. Austin, Texas is up by 62.4%, very close to Miami. But inventory is only up by 0.9%. This is, I wouldn't say deceiving, but looking at year-to-year changes doesn't really tell the full story, because in Austin, Texas, that's one of the cities, I believe it's number one, that has the highest amount of houses for sale compared to November of 2019 nationwide, the biggest increase compared to pre-COVID levels. But over the past year or so, or year or two, the level of inventory is not surging as much compared to other areas. So that's why this share of listings that has increased compared to 1 year ago is only up by 0.9%, but looking at past 5 years is up greatly in these other markets. Anyways, after Austin, Texas was Fort Lauderdale, Florida, San Antonio, Texas, Orlando, Florida, and West Palm Beach, Florida. Therefore, the top 6 markets that have stale inventory are all located in Florida and Texas. In contrast, if I click on this link right here, it takes you to the lowest share. So again, the lowest share of stale listings is Providence, Rhode Island, which in fact has a lack of houses for sale compared to 2019, even though they're up by 12% year over year. That's at 38%. Then we have Milwaukee, Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, Warren, Michigan, and San Jose, California. Also, if you guys are curious about Sacramento, California, that share is only at 48.8%, and inventory is up by 18.9% according to Redfin. I'll provide a link below if you guys want to look at other cities here, but let's move on and go back to this other report. So it says here, some metrics are showing weakness compared to a year earlier due to the timing of the Thanksgiving holiday. The 4-week period ending December 22nd, 2024, which is this report, includes Thanksgiving this year, while the comparable period 1 year earlier, the 4 weeks ended December 24th, 2023, does not include Thanksgiving. Let me give you guys some insights regarding this. When we have a holiday, we tend to have a lack of houses being listed for sale and also a lack of, or a decrease, I should say, of contracts being signed, a decrease of pending sales and new listings. Therefore, we should see kind of this downturn this year compared to last year, because this year included Thanksgiving, whereas last year it excluded. We'll talk about pending sales, new listings, home prices here in a little bit. Let's first talk about some leading indications and rates. Mortgage rates, according to the Mortgage News Daily, as of December 26 was at 7.16%. That's a little bit outdated though, because as of December 31st, it decreased to 7.07% on average. Jumbo at 7.3, FHA is at 6.4, VA at 6.42%. When we look at the chart over the past 1 year, you can see at 7.07%, this is a sharp increase really ever since mid-September. Back then we had a 2-year low in rates, and now it has increased to just over 7%, but it's still lower than the 7.5% we saw back in April this year. And by the way, 1 year ago this time, we were at 6.67%. So rates have increased by approximately 40 basis points over the past 12 months. In regards to Redfin's Home Buyer Demand Index, a measure of home tours and other home buying services from Redfin agents, that was up by 4% year over year. But Google searches for homes for sale is down by 26.1%. That's according to Google Trends. They look at the amount of interest for search terms. So for example, home for sale, people searching on Google for that, that's down by 26.1% year over year. Now let's talk about home prices. I have a lot to share regarding this. This covers the 4 weeks ended December 22nd. And this right here, the median sold price excludes the Thanksgiving holiday periods compared to 1 year ago, because this is really what the market was like approximately 1 month prior when the home buyer got their offer accepted. And of course, they closed about 1 month later. So that's at nearly 384,000, up 6% year over year. Looking at the chart, according to their data center, they have not updated this, but we can just look at 384,000. So at 384,000, that's not too far off the all-time record high that was set back more or less in June at $396,000. At that time, we're up by 4%, but again, now we're up by 6%. Something that really caught my attention though is that there's not a single metro at the 50 most populous ones in which their median sold price decreased compared to 1 year ago. Several months ago, there was around 8 metros, now there's 0. Every single metro has posted a gain. In fact, the biggest gain is actually in Philadelphia, up by 17.1%. What the heck is going on there? I'm guessing a lack of housing supply. Milwaukee is up by 14.3%. Cleveland, Ohio up by 13.3%, Nassau County up by 12%, and Warren, Michigan up by 11%. So top 5 metros have increased by at least 11%, pretty astonishing. In regards to home buyers' average mortgage payments, that increased by 7.1%. This is due to the fact that prices are up compared to 1 year ago, but also rates have increased compared to 12 months ago as well. So it's more expensive to buy a house right now, of course. In regards to pending sales, a measure of contracts being signed, that decreased by 3.4%. The first decrease year over year in about 3 months. Again, is this impacted by the Thanksgiving holiday that was included this prior 4 weeks, but excluded 1 year ago? Time will tell. We'll have to see how this looks like in about 3 weeks from now. And again, it makes sense that there's a lack of people listing their house for sale. and also a decrease in contracts being signed if we include the Thanksgiving holiday. But again, we'll have to look at these figures in about 3 weeks from now, 2 to 3 weeks from now, to see if these are really are going to be going back into the positive. Anyways, a decrease of contracts being signed and new listings flat year over year. Active listings are up by 12%. There's around 955,000 active listings in the US, and that increase of 12% is the smallest increase since March this year. That's been a common trend for about 1 or 2 months now. Now, when we look at the most populous metros, the 50 most populous metros, pending home sales increase in 12 metros. This means, of course, that 38 metros of the 50 reported a decrease. In other words, around 76% of the 50 biggest metros nationwide have posted a decrease in pending sales. Again, we'll have to look in the next 1 or 2 weeks to see if this moves in a different direction. In any case, the biggest increase is actually in Detroit, up by 7.8. Then we have Anaheim, Providence, Phoenix, and Pittsburgh. The biggest declines are San Antonio, Texas, down by 17%. Then we have Orlando, Houston, Newark, New Jersey, and Miami, Florida. In regards to new supply in the market, people listing their house for sale, that increased in 18 of the biggest or the 50 biggest metros. And of course, in contrast, this means a decrease in 32 of those markets. The biggest gains are in Oakland, California, up by 9%. Also Las Vegas up by 8.9. Then we have Tampa up by 8.8, Phoenix 8.7, and Virginia Beach, Virginia up by 8.4. In contrast, the biggest declines are San Antonio, Texas, Nassau County, Boston, Austin, and Orlando, Florida. This right here is one of the reasons why Austin, Texas is not up as much as other metros compared to 12 months ago, because they're seeing a lack of new listings hitting the market. But again, despite that, they still have a lot more houses for sale compared to 2019. Looking at the charts below, let's take a look at pending sales. The level of pending sales, which is kind of buried here between 2023 and 2022, is more or less in line with those years, but of course way lower than 2021, when of course back then the average 30-year fixed rate was around 3%. Now it's at more or less 7%. So level of pending sales is in line with past couple of years. This is the same for new supply in the market, more or less in line with past couple of years as well. Also very close to 2021 as well. In July, for example, the difference between this year compared to 2022 and 21 was pretty great, but now that has been narrowed now over the past several months now. Meanwhile, active listings or housing inventory is up by 12%. And again, we're seeing a sharp pullback in inventory levels, which is seasonal. Inventory kind of tends to peak around August, early September, like it did in 2022 and 2021. And this year it peaked late, just like we saw back in 2023. We are seeing a seasonal decrease of inventory, but we still are at least a 4-year high during the same time frame, which has been the same scenario ever since really February this year. But despite that, prices are up by 6%. In regards to the month supply is at 4 months, right in line with the past several years, obviously way higher compared to the same time frame in 2021, when the month supply was around 2 months. One more slide I want to share from Redfin, then I'm also going to share the share of price reductions by state and also nationwide as well, according to Altos. So let's look at the average sale price to final list price ratio. That's at 98.4%, which means houses on average sold for 1.6 percentage points less than the seller's final list price. That's right in line with past couple of years, but also way lower compared to 2021 though. In regards to price reductions, a really good website I love looking at is altosresearch.com, which was purchased by Housing Wire several months ago. In any case, nationwide, the share price drops as of the week ended December 27th was at 36%. So around 4 of every 10 houses for sale have a price reduction, right in line with last year, but at 36%. This is lower than 2022 this time, when the share was at around 38.5%. We are higher compared to 2021, 2020, and obviously looking at pre-COVID, right before COVID, back in January 10th, 2020, the share price drops was only at 29%. So for the nation as a whole, we're at 36%. Let's look at Arizona though. Arizona is at 42%, more or less 43%. Again, in line with last year, lower than 2022, but higher than the past several years before that. In Florida, the share price drops is also in line with, this is pretty interesting. Nationwide, Arizona and Florida, the share price drops in line with the same time frame 1 year ago, but lower than 2022. The share price drops in Florida at more or less 40% and also way higher compared to pre-COVID levels. In Texas, let's take a look at that. A common scenario as well, all the same, 37% in line with last year, but lower than 2022. In California, this might look a little bit different. I honestly haven't even looked at this yet. The share price drops is at 30%, so much lower compared to the nation's average at 36%. Also at 30%, right in line with last year, but way lower than 2022 this time at 36%. But also at 30%, we're higher than 22, 21, and early parts of 2020. Back then, the share price drops was at 26%. So please leave a comment below. What are you guys seeing in your neck of the woods? Obviously, real estate is local. Talking about national trends, statewide trends may not pertain to your neck of the woods. So please leave a comment below with your thoughts regarding today's video. Please like and subscribe. And of course, if you guys want a real estate agent referral, then check out my website, which is realestateteamfinder.com. With that said, I appreciate you guys so much. Happy New Year. Have an amazing day, and we'll see you next video.